What it do, guys? It is your boy, Leo Mookie here, back with you with a new What If for you guys. And honestly, personally, I wasn't even planning on doing a new What If in the past couple of months or so. Well, not until I at least finish one, or if I got at least up to that of 9,000 subscribers. But personally, I decided to do this because, well, to some of you, I think some of you realize that a certain What If I've basically not even cared to upload for the past couple of months since the beginning of this year and last year as well. That being, what if Izuku had that of a job class quirk? And honestly, I'm dropping that story entirely. The reason being because I don't like how I was basically taking that what if, to be honest. I was trying on making that of an OP Izuku, but with that of one drastic downside. And I know quirks are basically have that of downsides alongside upsides as well. But what I kind of made one hell of a downside that's kind of depressing in a way. So yeah, I don't want to do that. In this one, it's a lot more different. This is what if Izuku had that of an anti-quirk weapons. Basically, he has an anti-quirk quirk, just like that of Aizawa, but he can summon weapons that have that of anti-quirk ability. Basically, it's like that of Asta's anti-magic swords, but instead of working on magic, they can work on that of any type of quirk except that of mutation type quirks like Aizawa's quirk. So yeah. So with enough said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? All men are not created equal. Currently right now, we see that of a young greenette boy defending another boy who was crying on the ground, as this greenette boy being Izuku Midoriya, with him basically tearing up as he holds that of a small green dagger in his hands, saying, "Please, Kachan, you're hurting him." Then soon, the boy known as Kachan, or rather Katsuki Bakugo, an ashen blonde with that of crimson red eyes, he has that of a cocky smirk on his face, saying, "Seriously, you think you can stop us, Deku? Just because you have somewhat of a good quirk doesn't mean that you'll be able to beat us all." Then Izuku saying, "Well, I can at least try. I won't unless I even try to stop you. That's what a hero does after all. What you're doing is just basically being bullies. Villains, actually." Then soon, Bakugo couldn't help but basically grin, saying, "Oh, you see yourself as a hero? And you think of us as the villains? Sorry, Deku, but I think you have that mixed up. You're the villain here, and we're the heroes beating up the villains. That's because everyone knows that the heroes are the ones who are the strongest." After saying that, Bakugo and his two lackeys, a boy with that of stretchy fingers and an obese boy with that of red wings, rushed towards Izuku at basically blinding and somewhat scary speeds. As for Izuku, he holds his green dagger with a tight grip. Before then, soon everything goes black for a split second, as the greenette boy, who tried to defend the other boy, basically lays on the ground in pain and with a little bit of blood coming out on the side of his cheeks and on his arms as well. Then saying, of course, that equality doesn't mean that just because you have powers doesn't mean you're equal to as well. Then currently, the world that we live in is that of the world of the superpowered. It all started 200 years ago when a baby glowed in China. Since that very day, many other children began to gain that of superpowers as well. These powers are known as quirks. These quirks basically give people amazing abilities, while some use these abilities to hurt others, which we call villains. There are those who actually use their quirks to help others and save people from danger. With the emergence of these people, a new profession was created. This was the profession known as heroism. And because of this, many heroes began to rise up from every walks of life, after all. And in Japan, there's one hero that stands above the top, who stands above all, that hero being All Might. My idol, the one that inspired me to be a hero. Ever since that day I saw when he first debuted to Japan, I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be the very symbol of peace himself. To look so cool, with a smile on my face, helping those in need and saving others. That's what I always dreamt of. And on that day when I got my quirk, I was shocked. And I thought with this quirk, I'll be able to help others. You may be wondering what my quirk is. My quirk is called, within an elderly man with that of a bushy mustache, that of orange mechanical glasses, and that of a doctor's lab coat, saying, "You do have a quirk, young man, but it's quite the unique one, actually." This quirk is called Anti-Armory, with then Izuku not knowing what the word means, but knows that it sounds awesome. However, his mother, Izuku Midoriya, who is quite the beautiful young woman, actually, basically knows what the quirk means. With then saying anti-armory, you mean that it's basically he can nullify things. But what's the armory part? With then soon the doctor saying, you see, Miss Midoriya, the quirk that your son has basically allows him to create that of weapons that can nullify and basically reflect quirks right back at other people, even able to cancel them in time as well. It all depends on the weapons that your son has. With then Inko saying, that sounds quite dangerous, especially for a boy of his age having a weapon in his hands. With then soon the doctor saying, nonsense, ma'am, nonsense. The weapon is only seen dangerous, depends on your son's mental state at the time. If he wants the weapon to be blunt, then it can be blunt. If he wants it to be sharp, then it'd be sharp. Simple as that. All he has to do is will it and think it once he brings out the weapon. If he tries to think of it being sharp during the time while it's already out, then it won't be. That's how the quirk works. With then Izuku hearing this, with then wondering, can I bring it out? Can I bring out what my quirk is able to do? With Izuku having that of a happy and somewhat cheerful and exciting tone in his voice to activate his quirk, with Inko feeling somewhat nervous, but then soon the doctor saying, okay, young lad, well, the way for you to activate your quirk, you had to think of a certain weapon. Think of something that you can have in your hands, like maybe a nut. Have you seen your mommy hold a knife in the kitchen by any chance? With then Izuku remembering what his mom always had in the kitchen making stuff for him, as then soon creating that of the sharp edge kitchen utensil, as it has that of a black handle. The metal itself is still silver, however, glowing around it has that of a faint glowing glow. With then Izuku saying, I did it! Hey, I activated my quirk! With then soon Inko saying, "Is it sharp?" With soon the doctor grabbing that of a cotton swab, with soon putting the swab right next to that of the knife, with then cutting as it doesn't cut right through it, with then soon the doctor saying, "It seems he didn't think about it being blunt, didn't think about it being sharp. All he wanted to do was activate his quirk. Like I said before, if he wants it to be sharp, then he can." With then hearing this, Inko feeling less worried and scared, but is kind of worried since her son is still that of a child. He would probably make it that of sharp just to be curious on how it feels or what he could do with it. However, this is Izuku Midoriya. Even as a kid, he probably wouldn't think about it like that at all. After hearing this, now getting the diagnosis about his quirk being that of anti-armory. Izuku has now shown off his quirk to all his friends and kids across his daycare and elementary school. With Bakugo was impressed as well. However, he always told Izuku that it's still not as cool as his quirk, and that he'll probably be nothing but second best in his sidekick after all. Izuku not really caring that much about it, but is just glad that he has his own quirk, and he could stand side by side alongside his best friend, Kachan. However, as the years gone by, and especially with that of a certain incident, with Bakugo not watching where he's going, falling into a small creek, and Izuku offering his hand to his friend, with seeing this gesture, seeing this one aspect of just kindness. Bakugo, on the other hand, being basically told he's praised, he's the strongest, he's the best. Basically see this is that of Izuku's gesture of kindness as a sense of spite, believing that he is weak and that he needs help from somebody like him. Since that day, Bakugo has tried his best to bully Izuku. However, given Izuku's quirk being that of anti-armory, well, every time that Bakugo tries to hit Izuku brings out the kitchen knife that he summons all the time since he began using his quirk to deflect and basically block all of Bakugo's attacks towards him. Given that Bakugo quirk is that of an emitter type, basically he can basically turn it off and on whenever he sees fit, even with how much he sweats. It's still Izuku is able to reflect it right back at Bakugo, or basically cancel it all entirely if Izuku doesn't swing his hands and just blocks. Hell, the knife doesn't even need to defend his entire body. The knife just needs to, make contact with that of the explosion, and soon the quirk basically disappears after imploding on itself. With that, it's all but done. But even so, everyone fears Bakugo more than they respect Izuku. So many kids basically stop, being friends with Izuku, while some still be friends with him out when Bakugo's not around. However, which is rare because Izuku still sees Bakugo as his childhood friend. Until this one incident when he tries to bully an innocent kid just because he didn't listen to Bakugo. Since this day, everything changed. Believing that the friend that he once knew, that the Kachan that he used to see as a hero himself in the making, basically gone. With that, Izuku walks back home in that of pain, cuts, and bruises. As he soon looks through the video of All Might to cheer himself up as always, until one day he looks at another video, a video of a person basically swinging around knives, or rather kunais at that. With then Izuku basically clicking on the video, curious about what this video is all about. Within the video, basically, it talks about how to swing around that of not to handle that of knives, from that of, well, normal kitchen knives to daggers to throwing knives and to even that of kunais as well. With seeing this video, Izuku brings out his anti-quirk knife. With then looking at the video, as since that day, 5 to 6-year-old Izuku basically move around the motions on how to handle that of handle any form of knife. With that, just basically swinging the knives, parrying the knives, knife handling, knife twirling, and basically self-defense, and using knives in that of self-defense. He mostly uses that of a dagger as that a form of self-defense more often than just using regular form of knives, and uses that of throwing knives as well. Ever since this day, Izuku began writing down all techniques and forms on how to use that of knives, and begins to think. And ever since of graduating that, began reaching that of, 10 years old, he realized about his quirk. His quirk is still that of an armory. Basically, he can create any type of weapon, possibly, with that of anti-quirk properties. As he soon decided to create that of a bow staff, with the same glow that shows his anti-quirk ability around it. Then, he begins looking up videos on that of bojutsu. Then swinging his bow around, he realized that the computer room that in his house is way too small for stuff like this. Since then, he begins to his mom decided to give him a phone. However, it had to be that when he turns that at 12 years old instead. Until his 12th birthday, he began to use that of smaller range weapons, close range weapons, basically with that of a short range, such as daggers, swords, and also that of short axes and throwing axes as well, known as tomahawks. But, however, to take note, however, there's not many, fighting styles that revolve around that of axe play. So Izuku had to get a little bit creative, especially with looking at videos on them. Instead of finding that videos on that of axe play in Japan, he found one in that of English for that of axe play that Vikings used to handle as well, which was pretty difficult given that, again, Izuku is only that of a 10-year-old and hasn't taken that of English classes yet until he gets into junior high. So he had to ask his mom for that of assistance. At first, Inko wasn't really fond of the fact that Izuku was basically learning how to fight using weapons, but realizing that this is his quirk and it would be a good way to defend himself while also helping him become a hero, she allows it. Still not too fond about him being a hero though, given how dangerous it is. And even though his quirk seems like that of hero material, it's not that powerful or flashy enough to make it to become that of a pro hero. In her eyes, it seems. But for Izuku, it's all but determination even more for him to show that he can become a hero in his own way, in his own right. With that, after months of his mom translating words from English to Japanese, he was able to understand certain fighting styles, even with the movements and with that of the context about what the person that's showing how to fight is actually saying. It makes it a lot more easier on Izuku, with now having axes under his belt of fighting style as well. However, there was one weapon that always gave Izuku trouble, mostly because it felt like it was the most scariest weapon to try and master, and that being swords. Because there are so many types of swords out there in the world, Izuku had a hard time trying to guess which swords would be easy. I mean, sure, katanas are always should be the easiest given that he's Japanese, but again, that's a stereotype. Not all Japanese people are good using that of a katana, even if it is considered one of the lightest swords in history. Then there are swords such as that of cutlass, which is supposed to be that of a good cutting weapon, but Izuku doesn't want to hurt people too much, even if he does have even though he can think of a weapon to be blunt or not. This dilemma basically held Izuku back for at least a little while, until his 11th birthday. During this time, he began to copy other people's quirks and understand how they work by seeing on how they develop and how they can be improved, until a certain pro that's always been in the top 10 no matter what, that being the pro hero Yarimusha, a pro hero who's known to use that of any form of weapon to help him out in that of combat, given his unique form of quirk being that of weapon mastery. Looking up videos on that of the current 7th rank pro, Izuku began to wonder on how this pro uses weapons, as looking up videos of him taking care of villains, saving people, using various weapons as a way for his heroism, as using that of a 3-pronged spear to basically get civilians out of a destroyed bus, then using that of a chain sickle as that of a way to knock out several villains, and last but not least, using that of a katana to take down a villain without even dropping a single brand of blood on him. The reason being is that he was able to cut all of his clothes off besides his underwear, and while embarrassed, being knocked out by the blunt end of the katana from Yorimusha. Due to this, Izuku knew he found the perfect person that could help him improve his fighting style. Unfortunately, even though he was able to find each and every movement, copy it down, and incorporate it into his fighting style, let's just say that all of the movements were not made for Izuku, were made for somebody of Yorimusha's body type, not for somebody like Izuku's body type, unfortunately. The reason being because Izuku doesn't realize this. He's not really a fighter. He's a person that analyzes, copies, and understands a person's fighting style, but not realizes that, he doesn't know that he can't use it because he doesn't have the body for it or the power for it. Yarimusha is able to do stuff like that is due to his quirk. Izuku is able to create any weapon that can basically nullify a quirk. That doesn't mean that his body is capable to handle that fighting style. Realize that he's in a bit of a rut. He decides to just figure out ways of how to use the weapons that he can think of, even weapons that his body cannot handle just yet, like that of a spear, a halberd's axe, and also that of a great sword as well. So he decided to bulk up a little bit by doing that of exercising each and every day after school. Even when finally reaching that of junior high, his training never stopped. And since Izuku has a quirk, and a lot of people still know Izuku to have that of a pretty flashy and somewhat useful quirk, he has plenty of friends or acquaintances that actually like him. However, due to Izuku and Bakugo going to the same junior high school, being in the same neighborhood and all, Bakugo still gains the most prestige, the most attention, the most praise, and basically gets the teacher's most attention, while still even though his personality as the years go by has been nothing but hot dumpster fire shit. Times 100. He's more arrogant, self-obsessed, basically doesn't even see what the true meaning of heroism truly is. All he is basically an arrogant, just like every other person that tries to become a hero. Arrogant, self-absorbed, and only sees being a hero as nothing but a job. And only wants to get fit, have that of money, fame, and glory. Izuku, on the other hand, still holds the ideas that even All Might held to this day. That wanting to be a hero to save, protect, and reassure people that they're always going to be looked after by a hero with a smile on their face, just like All Might. But even so, in this day and age, powerful quirks and those who have who have that of a confident attitude is the ones who are considered to be the best heroes. As for people like Izuku that even do have that of a unique and interesting quirk, are still considered to be the lower, even though he has potential. But even with all of that going against him, Izuku could still continue to train and get stronger. As Izuku decides to train instead of, wild and self-loathing due to him constantly being belittled by his peers like they would in canon. In this timeline, there are people who actually do think that Izuku can become a hero. Even his mom believes that she can become a hero, even though she gets worried all the time. There are even a few teachers at his junior high that believe that Izuku has a chance to become a hero. Due to this positive reinforcement of other people believing that he can become a hero, he continues his training even harder, even more diligently than before. Even when he feels like his entire body is about to break and crack under his own weight, he still continues pushing forward. And since then, Izuku was now able to handle at least two weapons that he wasn't able to handle before. That being that of spears and dual swords and dual axes as well. However, as for the weapons that he actually did want to try and master, that being that of great swords and halberd axes, let's just say that didn't go so well. Even though Izuku bulked up a lot better, he doesn't know how weapons like that take more finesse and basically find a way to adjust your weight to handle weapons like that. Because if you can't handle them properly, you could break something or cause some severely damage to yourself as well. Knowing this, this could backfire on him, Izuku decides to just keep it to himself for the time being. And now it's time for Izuku's final year at Aldera Junior High. As Izuku was running towards his junior high school for his final year, he soon runs into that of a pro hero facing against a villain. As the pro hero that's fighting against a gigantification villain is the rising upcoming star in Hero Society, that being Kamui Woods. As Izuku is hyped and shocked seeing the pro that's taking the hero rankings by storm by reaching that of the top by being part of the top 1,000, now in that of the top hundreds, with then Izuku seeing the pro in action, seeing him moving around, basically almost looks like that of, toying and possibly even messing around with the villain. As for Izuku, he can see he's excited seeing the pro hero in action, but he is a little bit current as the years have now gone by. Izuku has the mentality about, wanting to take care of villains quickly and officially before innocent people or even fellow heroes getting hurt. Due to him always looking up videos and that of pros who have that of a good mindset. Personally, Izuku has more of a mindset of that of an underground pro that focuses more on trying to defeat a villain faster instead of flashier for the public and press, after all. But even so, he can still admire at least a good pro that's actually doing at least some good for once. With then the pro, Kamui Woods going to the top of the roof of a building, saying, "File villain. It's time we put an end to this. I'll end this with my special move, Lacrima Chain Prison." Within, multiple branches began to extend towards that of the gigantification villain. Before then, Izuku began hearing a voice, began wondering, wait, where's that voice coming from? Being cut off, a female voice soon screams out, "Canyon Kick!" Soon, a female pro heroine wearing that of a skin-tight blue jumpsuit with that of white patterns on the lower body, while having that of blue boots and that of a diamond prong mask, as she has that of long blonde hair, with a few of them being tied up into that of twin tails, actually. The pro heroine, otherwise known as Mount Lady, basically debuts on today. However, instead of her just being recognized for her taking out that of a gigantification villain with one hit, she seems to be more recognized for two other things and her quirk. As for Izuku, he writes down about that of Mount Lady, seeing that she may reach that of a high-ranking pro. However, she won't be too damn popular, given that she seems more like that of a media whore in a way. But even so, in this world, being a pro hero and saving people's lives and taking care of villains is what truly matters the most. But the idea of being a pro seems more skewed as the years and generations go on. As for Izuku, finally arrived at Aldera Junior High with their homeroom teacher, soon saying, "Now, I'm glad to see that you're all here for another exciting year. Now, I have to say, since all of you are now third years, you will now have to think about what you're going to do in your life. I know, this seems like it's tedious after all. But you all had to think about this. Do you all want to just move, once you graduate here from Aldera, do you want to go straight into the workforce? Or do you all want to go into high school? Which is just as important as well, given that you all had to work for your entrance exams. So, to help you with this, I decided that we should all take that of a career aptitude test. Soon, Izuku basically looking through his hero work studies notebooks for the future, as he has several books on that of pros. However, he has more on that of, developing new fighting styles and techniques for using his weapons in combat, by adapting certain pros' fighting styles into his techniques as well. With Izuku not even listening to his teacher, as he finally got to the point that but why bother take a career aptitude test when every last one of you wants to be pros, with then everybody activating their quirks in the classroom, showing them off, with some being quite interesting, while some just look downright ridiculous and stupid. As for Izuku, still not listening, as he doesn't really care too much, with then soon a cocky and arrogant voice saying, "Don't lump me in with these losers, teach. They would be lucky to be a sidekick to basically a washed-up D-lister after all." With then hearing that, many people in the classroom began to get a little bit annoyed at the ashen blonde, with then one of them saying, Are you serious, Bakugo? You really do look down on us that much, saying, yeah, you think you could do better than us, Katsuki? I like to see you try. Then, soon, Bakugo smirks, within him jumping up onto the top of his desk, but then saying, well, yeah, because I know I'm going to be the best. After all, I plan on applying to UA after leaving this crummy dump of a school. Then hearing this, everybody begins to get shocked and surprised, with one of them saying, wait, Bakugo's going for the national level school, UA? Saying, but that's impossible. I hear that they have that of a 5% pass rating. It's impossible to get in that school. Then Bakugo, hearing all of the muttering, begins laughing like a maniac, but then saying, ha! That's why it's worthy only for me and me alone. I've already passed all the mock exams. I have the highest grades in the entire school, and I have one of the most powerful quirks in this dead-end school as well. If anything, it was all set in stone for me to be the best of the best. Once I get into UA, I'll graduate, have that of a high-ranking agency, and become more famous and richer than even All Might himself. As Bakugo begins laughing like that of a cocky maniac, then soon their teacher, not even phased, while also having that of a smile on his face, saying, "Oh, Midoriya, didn't you plan on applying at UA as well, right?" Then Bakugo still laughing, before then stopping abruptly, before then his entire body went white for a little bit. Then soon Izuku closing his notebook, before then looking up saying, huh? Oh, about what? Then their teacher saying, you were planning to apply to UA, right? Saying, huh? Oh, yeah, I plan to apply. What about it? Then soon everybody in the classroom, instead of laughing or basically making fun of Izuku, believing that he doesn't have a chance, a few of them saying, Midoriya's going to UA, just like Bakugo? Saying, oh boy, looks like their rivalry still continues even to this day. Then one of them saying, like hell Midoriya's going to be able to make it into UA. He has that of a weak... He may have an interesting quirk, but I doubt it's useful for that of pro work. One of them saying, I mean, think about it. Guy has more of a chance to make it into UA than any of us. At least he actually looks like he has a chance. Then one of them say, oh, damn it. I was actually looking forward for that Midoriya and I could probably go to a different school together. But if he's going to try and make it to UA, there's no chance in hell I'm going to be able to get that chance now. Then soon Bakugo getting annoyed saying, Deku! Then soon, without even warning, Izuku pulls out that of a sword out of thin air. As the explosion was heading close to Izuku, with one solitary swing, the explosion was sent flying right back at Bakugo. Then Bakugo being sent flying backwards from his own explosion, knocked back towards his desk, with a few of the dispersing explosion hitting at least a few students. Then Izuku saying, my apologies everyone who got hit by that explosion, but blame Kachan for trying to attack me after all. To be honest, what the hell were you thinking? You knew this was going to happen. Then Izuku standing up, as instead of him being the same, scrawny, basically 5'2", like he wouldn't can before becoming 5'5", and the over-muscular kid he would be in canon, current Izuku right now is a lot more... It's actually the current height that he would be, being 5'5", and already quite muscular. Not as toned as his current canon, but still pretty muscular. Then soon Bakugo growling in that of annoyance and pissed off, saying, Deku, you little shit! You really think you can basically knock me back just like that? Bring it on, you little bastard! Then Izuku preparing to get into that of a fighting stance with his sword, as it being that of a regular small link slim broadsword, with both double-edged bladed, with that of a guard with the guard basically raising up on both sides, and with that of a green hilt as the grip, with soon the green anti-quirk aura across the blade, with then everybody getting somewhat worried and scared, with then soon the teacher clapping, saying, now, you two, enough. No fighting on quirk premises. And as for the rest of you, no using your quirk on school premises either. Keep this up, and you already get some demerits before the school year even begins. After this, many people stopped using their quirks and went back, and some went back to normal. As for Izuku and Bakugo, on the other hand, the two of them continued to glare at each other, as the kids that used to be that of a tight friendship has now basically been that of dispersed, given how much the years have changed both of them, from Izuku being that of a timid, caring, and kind-hearted boy to basically an analytical, hardworking, and strong-willed person that will basically that will reach his goals in any way. And to Bakugo being an arrogant, self-entitled, and self-important person that believes he is the best of the best, but in reality, he's far from it. But still believes him to be on that pedestal due to years and years of people constantly hyping himself up, believing he is the best. As the two former friends now turn bitter rivals, will change everything in the years to come. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I would love to read them. So, what would you guys think? Did you guys like this video? Do you think that's going to be a good contender to replace that of Job Class Deku? I really hope so, to be honest. But like I said, I want this What If to still have some aspects of, Job Class Deku, but some that won't feel like I'm basically making Izuku overpowered. He still has to work hard, just like that in Job Class Deku, where he has to level up his stats and his job class's skill trees to get stronger. However, he won't be his quirk will not be criminally overpowered, so he can level up. As for this Deku, he has to work his ass off physically, mentally, and emotionally to basically be able to use the weapons that he thinks of for that of his anti-quirk weapons, after all. So yeah. Any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep up to date with my videos when I upload on the channel. Also, check out my Discord, gaming channel, side channel, Patreon, and my new PayPal as well. All linked in the description below if you guys feel like it. So, with all that said, this is Yamuki, signing out. Later, guys, and I hope you all take care. Shiro Kitsune, you know what to do, my lovely lady.
Hi, everyone. This is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!